Well, welcome back everybody to the Formula Fun podcast, and it's time for our review and reactions from the US Grand Prix this weekend. As per always, well, apart from last week, he's returning, Rage himself. How are you this week, buddy?
Absolutely fabulous!
Will you stop doing things out of context?
Sorry.
People have no idea. Just been talking about Bane for about 10 minutes before this. Okay, there's your context. Good, I'm glad.
Context. I'm back.
Any more?
No, that's it, mate. I'm back. Hello.
You're out. Good. Yeah, it was the Grand Prix we needed. On a Grand Prix, I think everybody was going into expecting that Lewis Hamilton would come out world champion. We were very surprised that he didn't. And then B, had the extra surprise of what was a thrilling race. And a finish that we haven't seen for a long time. So, I thoroughly enjoyed this Grand Prix. How did you?
It was very good. I love it how when you said it was the Grand Prix we needed after we just quoted Bane. But hey, it was also the hero we needed but didn't deserve.
I'm banning Bane. I'm putting a blockade on Bane for now.
Batman quotes.
Okay. I can creep in again later.
It was the Grand Prix molded by it. I mean, sorry.
What have I done?
Molded by it.
I had a day of this and now infected you again. Oh.
You think the Grand Prix is your ally?
Just please. No.
I wish I had
want this podcast to be taken seriously.
Direct line to Vettel. You think spinning is your ally? I was molded by the 180-degree turn.
It's more like he thinks wheel on wheel is his ally.
You thought overtaking from the back of the grid was your ally.
Now even he is sick of it.
Oh, did you see the interview, the candid interview, where he was just like, I'm tired of recovery drives.
Yeah. Well, whose fault is that, buddy? Yeah, he's not in a good way at the moment, and I'm sure we'll get to that later on. But
we shall.
We must start, as we always do, with practice.
Whoa, simmer down. We haven't even had a little discussion. Did you enjoy it? How did it go?
Yeah, what the race?
Straight into it?
I mean, we normally do.
Okay, well...
I don't know why after 20-odd episodes you've suddenly started to take offence that we don't discuss the race more at large. Maybe we should do a little section of a general overview for people that just want to watch 15 minutes.
You know, it all depends on how many people turn off after I do really bad Bane impressions.
Oh, many.
Well, okay, let's go straight into practice. Should we do the normal? Some went round.
Yep. Some didn't.
Yep. Some
went round
fast.
in the wet.
Some not at all. Some went on fire.
I don't think there was any fires this time.
No fires. 1 week there'll be a fire, and I'll be bang on there.
They would have been lucky to have a fire this week.
I'm not sure.
Been put back out.
I'm not sure. Last week you and Fox mentioned, was there a fire? Did you mention any fire?
No. Again, this is a thing that we've probably mentioned 3 times, and now it seems to be a thing.
Yeah.
But no fires this week, as far as I'm aware.
How did you join the Grand Prix practice in Austin? Was there fire? No, there was no fire. Well, did the teams even turn up?
It was barely worth watching.
That's got to be a quote.
Well, that is a quote, and that's also what most sort of semi to non F1 fans think of the race. Was there a crash? No. Oh. It's pointless. I actually watched a Formula 1 for once at the weekend. No crashes. Oh, okay. It's not for you, I'm afraid, this sport.
Oh dear. Did anything fun happen in practice? It was wet, wasn't it?
It's very wet. P1 and P2. I think it was you that sent me a picture of a tunnel that was flooded earlier in the week.
Sure.
Maybe you.
I told
Might
you
have been
about
you.
flooding.
Yeah, probably you.
It was horrific the week before.
And I was looking forward to a wet race, but it turns out we didn't need moisture to make this a cracking Grand Prix for a change. And I'm kind of glad it was dry, to be fair.
You think the moisture is your ally?
Oh, no. The power of Christ compels you. Yeah, so practice. Yeah, it was practice. Ferrari did seem to have recovered their pace, though, in practice 3. And it's going to be interesting to see if that came over into qualifying, which we will get to now, and we will start, as always, from the back of the grid, just because they don't get enough airtime, do they? Your man, Stoffel Van Dorn.
My man?
P20. Your other man, P19, Marcus Ericsson.
Stoffel Van Dorn was my man?
Everybody's man, Lance Stroll, P18.
Everyone's
And Sergei Sorokin in 17th. Not much to say about those 4. They're about where they've been all season. Fernando Alonso only making 16th, showing that there's no pace in this McLaren car, unfortunately. Max Verstappen only P15. He did get through to Q2, but he had a rather interesting incident with a sausage curb. Did you see this?
I did. Sausage Gate.
Sausage Gate. Yeah, that's a very different thing. Don't put that into Google. Yeah, so he just clipped the sausage curbs towards the end of the lap and broke the wishbones on both sides of the suspension. Yeah, just pure luck, I think. People had been hitting them all weekend. There were tyre marks on the sausage curbs. Just the way he hit him in that moment. The car decided, nope, that's not how we want to go over that.
Christian Horner came out and just said, "Oh, it's just one of those things." I don't think it was probably like a build-up, wasn't it, of lots of different stuff. So don't they they X-ray the parts when they take them to different races and stuff to make sure that they're all safe?
Yeah, of course they do. But yeah, I mean it can depend on so many things as to how they break. They have their strength going up and down. That's why they're a suspension part, and when they hit laterally like that, anything can happen. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think obviously Max shouldn't have hit the curb. It's not part of the racetrack, but I guess it was kind of his fault and kind of not. It's one of those things that happens. Anyway, it meant that we were afforded another beautiful Max Verstappen first lap charge, which he's become accustomed to. And it meant the Toro Rossos, which didn't run in Q2 because they had grid penalties already, because they strapped in that new Honda Beast for this weekend, and it really was a beast. They matched anybody else in the speed traps in qualifying or in Q1.
Have you heard that Honda engine?
I've heard it a little bit, because I was rewatching, which we'll get to in the race, some Brendan Hartley action.
Absolutely filthy.
It does, doesn't it?
Delicious. Finally, a Formula 1 car at the moment actually sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, it would still sound better if it was a V8.
Well,
But...
you know, we can only but wish.
Yeah, it's as good as you can expect out of a 1.6.
Yeah, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, but no, they've made a huge step forward and obviously took the penalty so that they could run the engine. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they had the resources, which they probably don't. If they could design and run a new engine every race between now and the end, Red Bull would make Toro Rosso do it, just to try and get niggles out. But there's very, very positive signs coming out of Japan for Red Bull next year. And,
but I don't take anything that they say,
literally.
Lightly. Yeah, but we had all of this a while ago.
Yes, that's true. But we've also come to find recently that the biggest problem with the McLaren-Honda relationship was the McLaren car was shit.
Yeah.
Which with the Renault engine strapped in the back has become all too evident. So, if that Honda engine is, as most people expect, can be better than Renault at least, then it should be a step forward for Red Bull. And they've not exactly been far off this year, have they?
No.
So, really excited about Red Bull for next year. And Daniel Ricciardo must be sick as a dog. But he was sick as a dog for another reason in the race, which we'll also get to. So yeah, both Toro Rossos didn't run, but still managed to line up 13th, 14th, which is pretty good, really. Consider it doesn't matter, they started at the back of the grid. What am I on about? Kevin Magnussen, P12. Carlos Sainz P11, Perez P10, Charles Leclerc once again somehow getting that Sauber into the top 10. Roman Grosjean P8, and Hulkenberg and Ocon, the two drivers at the head of the best of the rest. It's about where everybody's been all season, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's no great surprises there. There's no great differences in times. So not much to talk about there, really. Guess well done Ocon for being 6th.
Yep. 6th.
Cool.
Oh, Ocon 6th. Sorry.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, I guess he won the best of the rest championship.
Exactly. That's like a win for him.
Why not?
And yes, why is he not in F1 next year? It's disgraceful.
A question everyone tries to answer.
Yeah, he's apparently been guaranteed a seat for 2020 by Toto Wolff. But again, there's no real promise in that, is there?
No.
Basically, it means I'm going to try and find you a seat again, I promise, is what he really meant. Right, Daniel Ricciardo P5, Red Bull even further away from the rest of the field in qualifying than they've been for quite a few races, but as it turns out in the race, it didn't really matter. They still managed to find some pace. The two Finns next, Bottas and Raikkonen, only bettered by Vettel and Hamilton. Pretty close between Hamilton, Vettel and Raikkonen. And even though Vettel was getting a free place penalty, I'm sure it was still important for him to get that pole. And he was very annoyed over the team radio for missing out. He got told, didn't he? How much did we miss out by? 7,000th or 6,000th?
6,000, yeah.
He swore very loudly.
Yes. It was very harsh, though, to lose out by that much. I think it was a brilliant showing from Ferrari.
Yeah, they found some pace, haven't they?
They have found that little switch that they were told to turn off last time.
Well, yeah, there's two trains of thought on this. There's a lot of people that are just pointing to a new bit of bodywork in the rear of the floor. And there's a lot of people that are saying that they have basically reverted to a car that they used 4 or 5 races ago. So I think it's a combination of the two, but basically everything they've been upgrading on the car the last 4 or 5 races has not been working. And they maybe shows that Mercedes haven't really moved that far forward. It's just Ferrari have moved themselves backwards. And reverting to the train of thought they had earlier in the season, reverting to a lot of those parts, has suddenly brought back the speed. Which begged the question of everybody, why on earth didn't you do that earlier? Or realise that earlier?
I think that's a very big little segment that we'll probably get to in a minute. But yeah, there's been heard lots of stuff going on in the background with old Fezzers.
Yeah, it's not a happy place at the moment, that's for sure. Despite what happened in the race, but there's one man very happy.
One very happy man.
Or as happy as... Well, he's basically as happy as Daniel Ricciardo is when he's sad.
Pretty much.
The man that won the race.
Talking of Daniel Ricciardo, did you notice in the press conference he did the whole thing with an American accent?
Yes, he did one of the... was it the press conference or was it an interview?
He did an interview on the grid, but I thought it was a press thingy. He did.
It was either a press conference or it was an interview in the paddock. I can't remember which. I haven't actually seen it. I've seen an animated version that Red Bull put out, where they animated him as a cowboy saying what he did in the press conference or the interview. But yes, he does a smashing Texas accent. It's almost as good as mine.
It's really bad, but hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, he had a good sense of humour. I loved Red Bull's race suits as well. With the white and the belt buckle. And the brown cowboy boots.
They were just like clothes that they were wearing.
Yeah, they're just going to go into the race in shirt and leather trousers. Very practical. Allows a lot of movement. They're fireproof shirts. I thought it was quite cool. I
think it was good.
Yeah, I always like that element of Red Bull. Except when they wear lederhosen at Austria.
Why not? Everyone needs lederhosen.
I find it creepy.
Really?
All sitting there on the pit wall in lederhosen.
Why not? A bit of lederhosen, mate. Crack open the lederhosen.
I'm not a fan of the lederhosen in general, so it won't surprise you that I'm not a fan when they wear it at a racetrack. I think it's a very strange... I know it's traditional. It's just something very strange for a load of British men to wear.
I guess.
At a motorsport event. Anyway, I've got nothing really against lederhosen, apart from the way that lederhosen sounds when you say it. Lederhosen, it just sounds wrong.
It does sound a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. My lederhosen.
Lederhosen.
Drink beer and put that lederhosen on.
Well, okay, that's enough.
Is that all right?
No.
No.
It's not.
Okay.
Not all right.
All right, let's get on to the race, shall we?
Let's.
So all the talk was about could Kimi Räikkönen beat Lewis Hamilton in turn one?
Could he?
A lot of people think that P2 should be pole here because it's better on the inside up to that run to the hill, and I think it's slightly less sloped on that side of the grid. So that paired with Kimi Räikkönen's tyre advantage, of course, starting on the ultra softs as opposed to the super softs with Hamilton, meant that he got a blistering start and just sort of pushed Hamilton out of the way into turn one. And, well, we were all expecting it to change from that, but it was the best possible start from a racer's point of view. Were you worried as a Hamilton fan, or were you not really... You know he's going to win the championship, so racing comes first.
Yeah. That's one. He's going to win anyway, isn't he? I didn't really care where he started. To be honest, I wanted Raikkonen to get into the lead at the beginning, so I was quite happy with where they were.
Yeah, it was better from a racing point of view, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was fully expecting Raikkonen to back up the pack into Vettel, but as we've learned from Raikkonen the last few races, he's not doing anything Ferrari says anymore, is he?
No.
He's just out there to do one thing. And did he do it? We'll find out later. we all know. Okay, and then there was quite a bit of chaos behind. I think the first major incident, there was bits of bodywork everywhere, was Lance Stroll clattering the curbs and then going straight into the side pod of Fernando Alonso. I mean, it was just plain clumsy, wasn't it? From Lance Stroll.
It was just idiotic. I just don't get why Lance think he was going to pull that off. Like he said straight away afterwards, is like, I cannot race with these people, amateurs.
Yeah, he said there was more amateurs in WEC than there was Formula 1. Which is, saying something, considering that has an actual amateur class in the World Endurance Championship. It was petty from Stroll, and I've got this horrible flashback, or this horrible case of deja vu, that Stroll, in a relatively quick car next year, is going to be exactly like Pastor Maldonado. I'm sure he won't be, because he does seem to have... it's not something that's happening regularly, and he has got speed, but I don't know, I just got a horrible feeling he's going to make a fool of himself next year.
He's absolutely going to get smashed by Perez, though, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I would give him every chance of seeing what he can prove in a car. I mean, same with Sorokin. He's really not got a chance in a Williams, has he, to show anything when they're almost a second off the pace at most tracks at the moment. They really are a proper back runner. But at the same time, yeah, he hasn't really exhibited anything apart from in Baku to suggest otherwise. It's going to be one of many fascinating stories next year. Incident number 2 went on in the background. Well, I don't know which way to order these. I guess we'll go for the one that was happening in the background of the incident that was then about to happen. Roman Grosjean, back to his old ways. He's back. No. Just ploughed into the back of the clerk.
I didn't actually see this. I only heard about it, and he got a penalty for it, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he's got a free place grid penalty for the next race.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
He just locks up and went straight into the back of the clerk, basically, and span him round, and that damage eventually made Charles retire. It was pure clumsiness from Grosjean, really. Whether it was a little bit veganist being in an American car at the American race, or whether it's just a typical Grosjean mistake, you don't know with him.
Typical Grosjean mistake.
I mean, we could easily bring back the Grosjean website that was promptly
Has it crashed yet?
has Grosjean crashed today. There have been many iterations of that. That's actually run by a YouTuber, Alec. Somebody. Yep. I'm sure his name's Alex something. Anyway, it doesn't matter who. Anybody that knows who it is will know who it is, and me saying the name won't make any difference if you know who it is or not. But yeah, that was a fun website. I liked that. I think there's a Maldonado one. There was a Grosjean one, and then
Max Verstappen one.
I think there was a Verstappen one. You're correct. How did you know that?
No idea. He went for a stage, didn't he? Anyone who goes for a stage, they get a website.
That's the way it works. And then the big event, the main event of lap 1, Sebastian Vettel versus Daniel Ricciardo.
Yes.
I mean, it just looked like he panicked mid-corner, lost control of the car, hit wheel to wheel. He's been incredibly fortunate with both Red Bulls that this hasn't been race-ending. Can you imagine how much... I mean, he's getting a lot of stick at the moment, but can you imagine how much stick it would be if those two accidents had been slightly different? And he just completely wiped out the Red Bull. Well, he's been lucky because he's lost control of the car in both cases, and they've hit wheel on wheel, which is why he span around.
Yeah.
But a couple of inches either way, and you're going straight into the side pod, and it's a massive accident.
Mm.
So
who do you think is at blame for this accident?
Oh, Vettel, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think it was purposeful. It's just it wasn't a clean, clinical move, and then it's not quite as Japan wasn't quite this, but this was much more almost panicking mid-corner, and that's where he lost control of the car. It skipped a bit, and then Bob's your uncle. He's into the side of Uncle Danny Rick. Never called him that before.
I don't know. I think Dan could have given him a little bit more room.
I mean,
Dan, he wasn't even like over the curb, was he? He was like still on the track.
Well, true, but at the same time, there was almost 4 times as much track for Vettel to use. I don't think Ricciardo just needs to compromise his line to the next corner just because Seb's on the inside.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a bit tricky because I felt that the Vettel got a bit of the rough end of the deal on that one. Like last time with Verstappen, I thought, yeah, you know what, that's pretty silly from Vettel. You know, I thought maybe Verstappen could give him a little bit more space, but this is Verstappen we're talking about here.
Yeah, the one place you would not try to overtake Verstappen at Japan is Spoon.
Is there. Yeah, I get that. But the bit with Danny Rick, they're going so slowly. Dan knew he was there, and Dan technically was on the outside. So I don't know, I feel Dan probably could have avoided this a little bit. I think, look, he's racing against the Ferrari, which he knows needs to get in front of him. He knows that. Danny's probably not going to be able to stay behind him. He probably also knows the Ferrari's got much more pace. So, and also the Ferrari's just overtaken him going into the last corner. Yes, he did go a little bit deep after overtaking him, but he did just overtake him. So I just think it would have been wiser for Dan to protect his own race and just almost not necessarily let it happen, but I think he could have probably lifted a little bit going into that corner and just let Vettel have that benefit of the doubt. I don't know, I just think he should have been a little bit more aware of his surroundings. And I don't know if that could have caused later on his retirement. They've said it was an incident with a battery or something, or electronic shutdown. But I don't know. I think there is a portion of blame to be added for both drivers on that one. I think Danny could have given a little bit more room. Only a little bit. Just a tad.
I mean, it's interesting you say that. I mean, everybody has opinions of things, and
yeah.
I hadn't really looked at it from that point of view. It's just, I guess, more the way that Vettel's been going recently that made me instantly just.
The thing is, though,
think it was his fault, but
if Danny Rick was on the outside of someone like Lance Stroll, do you think he would have given him more room?
Well, no, because he would have been round the outside and away.
Let's just say, come on. Do you know what I mean?
Let's say Danny Rick's got a puncher and he's
It's
driving one-handed.
It's the same as when Lewis tried to go around the outside of Max at the end. Lewis knew that, there's a little bit more at stake here than me overtaking you. Vettel's made his plans through the corner. Now I have to make my plans. I might just give him an extra foot because he is racing for the championship. I'm not. I'm not even racing for my race seat. Yes, I want to finish well. This is a long race. I don't know. I thought a little aggrieved for Vettel, and I'm quite surprised that there was no punishment or no blame. I guess they couldn't, blame Danny for what happened, and Danny retired like 2 laps later. But if I was in Dan's shoes, I would have opened up my steering and would have gone straight off the runoff area because there's no gravel there, is there? You could have joined the track just slightly behind Vettel. You might have even had a run on him through that fast corner. This impatience and a little bit of impatience from Vettel as well. But hey ho, everyone has their own opinions. I feel really, really bad for Vettel. But all of this like first lap stuff. And I was talking to, as you do about, sorry, I'm rambling, but I think it's good that we talk about this kind of thing.
Hey, I normally ramble at you for 10 minutes, then you ramble at me for 10 minutes. That's how it works. That's a podcast. I get a breather, you go. You get a breather, I go. Go on.
The whole thing with this Vettel incident, and I haven't been able to talk about it because a lot of the Vettel stuff had lost.
I can tell this is personal for you.
Yes, exactly. But at least a couple of weeks ago, I think Singapore, we still had the, let's call it B-spec car, B-spec Ferrari that had, as people say, the noticeable change in power output on straights. They could visibly hear it, and they'd seen on GPS that the car was faster at certain points in a straight line. Okay, B-spec car. And then you got C-spec car that has been racing for the past 3 or 4 races afterwards that's been struggling in certain areas, mostly straight line. Okay, so I think they've turned around to Vettel and said, look, something is being upset, and the FIA want clarification on what we're doing is correct. So they obviously found a loophole, and the FIA or someone, probably Mercedes, has gone, hey, wait a second, look at this telemetry, they're doing something wrong. So the FIA have gone, right, we're going to have to investigate and make sure your car's legal. So for the time being, you can't run that car how it is. So you're going to have to either change it until we've deemed it okay. Now they've deemed it okay. But anyway, in the meantime of that, they've gone round to Vettel and said, look, you're going to have to get yourself in front of that Mercedes on the first lap because you're not going to be able to do it any other time because we're slower. So pretty much, if you don't get in front of the Mercedes, you're going to lose the championship. So just do what you can to get in front of the Mercedes because there's no other way you're going to be able to do it. Whether they do it through helping themselves with different team strategy, which they haven't been able to do because Raikkonen does Raikkonen. Literally, that's the reason I think he's made so many mistakes because they've gone, look, Vettel, if you want to win this championship, you're going to have to win it yourself. The only way you're going to win it is by getting past these cars and getting past these Mercedes. Look, and if you crash, you crash. That's how it goes. And so Vettel's pretty much got it in his head. If you look back to what happened in France, he tried to get round the Mercedes. If you look happened with Monza, he tried to get round the Mercedes, so he kept his position. If you happen to see what happened today even in Suzuka and Circuit of Americas, he always tried to get that position, or at least tried to get into the position where he could control the race. And yeah, I feel that they've put too much pressure on Vettel to do this kind of thing. And like Vettel said, I think what he's been having to deal with all of this stuff is just I feel he's been robbed of his performance, and it's ultimately robbed him of his championship. But now they turn around, FIA have turned around and said, it's fine, run the engine, don't worry about it. And you can tell as well, lots of people rumblings have said, oh, you can hear the noticeable RPM change and the speed's back in the speed traps. That's my little slice of what's happening with Ferrari. If you agree, you agree. I've heard a lot of other people saying similar things, at least with the whole battery and electrical power issue.
There's definitely something going on there. I don't necessarily agree that it's cause and correlation. I don't think that the things that have been happening to Vettel are the fault of the Ferrari car. I think the fault of the Ferrari car is forcing Vettel into it.
Yes.
But I don't think it's Ferrari that are making him do that. He's a racer. He knows.
Oh, I don't think Ferrari have said,
he's got
take yourself out.
No. I mean, they've not said to him, "You've got to go and pass the Mercedes in the first 2 or 3 laps."
I
They're
think he
too
might have
smart for
sat
that.
down with his strategist and with his, engineer and said, "Look, if you don't get it done, you ain't gonna win." Because they know that Mercedes can't follow. They can get in front of that Mercedes. It's not going to be able to beat them if they're clever on strategy.
I think they're all case by case. I mean, Monza especially, I think was very much a 50-50 incident, and that was Mercedes coming back at Ferrari. I think there's also a case to be made here of Vettel's not pride, but this way that that Hamilton and Verstappen, they're classed as these great overtakers, and it's something that's plagued him throughout his career, even though he's proved it many times that he can overtake. People always still seem to have this opinion of him that he's not a great overtaker, and I think he's tried to get his elbows out and be a bit more aggressive when that's not his strength. His strength is to strategically think his way through a race, and when he's given the perfect car, nobody can match him. But yeah, I think these mistakes and this pressure has been caused by whatever is going on at Ferrari. But I don't think it's Ferrari putting the pressure on him to make these moves. I think he's doing it himself out of desperation. And I don't. All of it's interesting point of view, but I don't agree. Back to the original point either that it was anything to do with Ricciardo, because I think Vettel lost control of that car mid-corner, and that's what caused him to exit so wide. We saw many other battles during the race through those 2 corners where there was plenty of space for both drivers, with the outside car where Ricciardo was. But it's definitely a terrible mood at Ferrari, and it's not an environment he's enjoying at all. I was going to talk about this afterwards, but we may as well do the whole Ferrari topic as we've got onto it.
Topic Ferrari.
But I mean, he's been spotted with Red Bull mechanics more than Ferrari mechanics during the last few races.
Yeah, DC commented on it.
Exactly. I think his words were, you go back to your comfort blanket, and for him that's not Ferrari, it's Red Bull. And he's just completely disillusioned with this Ferrari team and the way these 2 years have gone. Because last year was 100% Ferrari's fault, and arguably this year it's the performance of the car, but that's also 2 years of pole on top of it, and now it's Vettel's making mistakes as well. In 2 years they arguably should have won the championship.
Do you think, in the guys that we have Formula 1 right now, Ferrari are capable of winning a championship?
You've got to say yes, because they're the closest to Mercedes, and I'd like to think anybody else can win it. But at the moment, Mercedes just seems to have that ultimate team combination.
Mercedes have almost turned their ethos towards Formula 1 and winning into almost running like a strict business. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything is absolutely meticulously done to such a degree that it...
Yes, this is job and efficiency.
It's just absolutely to the everything is done. It's perfectly, Whereas the Ferrari side of things, there's almost an element of blame and desperation. But with Mercedes, if something goes wrong, it's what happened, how can we improve? But with Ferrari, it's, well, he did this, he did that, Vettel did this, team did this. I don't know. I just think Ferrari at the moment they haven't got their heads in it. They haven't got their heads in the space that they need to win a championship. Whether they haven't got the driver that can lead them to win a championship, because I don't think Vettel was anywhere near as good as some of the drivers that Ferrari have had that have brought them their championships. As much as I want him to be, if you look back to how he won his last 4 championships, you could argue that the last 2 were tricky, or the last one was pretty tricky. But you had arguably the whole of Milton Keynes trying to get that man across the line in first. You had the whole team doing it, and you had a very, very, very competent design team You had a lot of financial backing, and it was a young, ambitious team. Whereas Ferrari have almost got the feeling of it's our right to win because we're Ferrari. You know, we'll just throw loads of money at it and see what happens. Do they? I don't think they have the correct ethos in their team at the moment to be able to win multiple races, back-to-back races. They're not willing to sacrifice their number 2 driver's race to get the number 1 driver across the road. You know, look what happened in Suzuka when they could have flipped them around and got them more points.
I mean, historically, Ferrari are. They've got.
Well, not at the moment.
They pissed the man off that was doing that for them, to the point where he doesn't want to anymore. So that's their fault. It's interesting ridiculous. You bring up Mercedes running like a business, because I think it's the opposite way. I think the big problem with Ferrari, and what a lot of people alluded to, is that they are not led by racers. You obviously have all the engineers that do the engineering thing, but the management at Mercedes and Red Bull especially are all from a race. They've all been racers, and they all understand how to manage racing drivers and the racing ethos, as you say. Ferrari, they're all marketing men and salesmen. Arriva Bene and the other people around him, and the new guy that's come in as the boss. And for Ferrari, it's all about the brand, and they just don't have that racing spirit anymore.
I don't think they've got that that instrumental person or force working behind them to win.
That's concentrating on the racing rather than the image.
I know, but back in the days of Schumacher, you had Schumacher, who was just an absolute machine, but you had Jean Todt in the background, and you also had Ross Brawn. You know, that was like a trifecta of awesome. It was like a winning combination. Those guys could not lose. But what do you have now? You have a smoking Arriva Bene who literally won't talk to anyone in the press because, they're Ferrari. And who else do you have in the background? Who could name someone at Ferrari that you just think, pedigree?
That man that sometimes talks to Ted.
He's all right. That one bloke, what's his name? Oh my god, I can see his face with the glasses. Yeah, one guy. It's not James Allison, is it? It's not him.
No. James Allison is. He is still there, is he, or has he left? I can't remember. No. He's like the Italian guy. Looks like a younger Arriva Bene. I know who you mean, anyway.
James Allison is still at Ferrari, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, he's not. AMG, Petronas, employer, predecessor, Paddy Lowe.
James, he did move that. Is Pat Fry back at Ferrari?
I
think Fry... he's gone now.
Pat Fry, goodness, I've no idea.
I don't know. Ferrari just fucking fire people at will at the moment.
Are you thinking of Mattia Benito, maybe? The other guy. I don't know.
Pat Fry, am I thinking of Mattia Benito?
No, the guy who we were talking about who actually does...
Maybe. I mean, I genuinely don't know his name.
I don't think...
so nothing is going to make me go, yeah, that's
now,
the guy.
By the way, Pat Fry, apparently.
Pat Fry's moved to McLaren. That's what I mean, all the people that...
Or he's moving, he might be on gardening leave, I don't know. Because they have their breaks and such.
That best phrase, Formula 1.
It is great, isn't it?
Gardening leave.
Where's old Paddy Lowe nowadays? Isn't he at...
Williams.
Is it Williams? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, similar to that, obviously Ross Brawn was the engineering guy. But he'd been in it from such a young age and always been around single-seater motorsport. And Jean Todt was a racer himself as well.
He was.
So
that's what I mean. That's you had the winning trifecta.
Yeah, you have to have that racing pedigree. The same with football managers. Such a large percentage of them are footballers themselves. There's a big reason for that, because they understand the people that they're managing. Mm-hmm. Primarily for the team principals, they have heads of engineering. They're not responsible really for the direction of the car or managing those people. They're there to manage the racing aspect and the drivers. And when you have someone like Arriva Bene managing them, I think that's causing a massive issue as well. And I think that's where Vettel's great fallout is with Arriva Bene and the management.
Did you hear that the rumours that Arriva Bene was going to join Juventus?
Yes.
As a manager. I know he's
as a
on
manager.
The board.
Well, yes, not the manager.
It's like the financial guy running Juventus, is it? business
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's why, because he is a marketing and salesman. All Ferrari's top guys in the F1 team either get chucked there to get experience, like the fucking whoever that guy was last year or 2 years ago, that got dropped in for 7 or 8 races to get some experience.
But to be
before-
fair, I think Arriva Bene's been good for Ferrari as a whole. We've seen a little bit of a rise with Arriva Bene. I think he runs a very tight ship. God, he was better than Dominicali, let's put it that way.
I liked Dominicali.
Did you?
Yeah, man, I did like him.
Really?
But the big guy was unfortunately the guy that passed away this year. He's the guy that correlates to all of
Sergio.
Ferrari's turned in form. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
It's a sad
Bene.
state of affairs with Ferrari, and I do hope that they can push it to Mercedes. But I don't know if they have it in them, at least. And I hope it doesn't destroy careers of young and hopeful drivers joining them very soon. But I wouldn't be shocked to see a Vettel move to Red Bull in 2021, 2 stroke, whenever.
I could see him going somewhere, absolutely.
I could, yeah, definitely.
Or even retiring. I could see it possible.
It all depends if it gets too much for him,
Well, I could see him taking a year or 2 out from the sport. At this point, it's really getting that bad unless things really calm down next year. But the thing I will always say about Ferrari is that they make great cars. Yes, they have these instances where they get pulled back for different things because they do push that envelope, but they are perfectly capable of building a winning car. I think all that politics and everything else like that goes out the window if they continue their trend of the last 3 years and come out with an even better car than Mercedes next year.
Look, the 2019 car, if it continues in the way that we're going at the moment, and the evolution of the design of that car goes forward, the Ferrari engine's getting better and better. It's slowly outpacing the Mercedes engine. They can crack the chassis for the next generation with the new aero for 2019. Then I will put it on the plate right now and say Ferrari will be very much so a contenders next year if they can sort out their backroom antics, because at the moment they can't. But hopefully they will.
I think we also have to look back briefly at the catalyst that caused all of this, which was, in my opinion, is Vettel in Germany, which again is Vettel's fault.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any one factor. I mean, it's been a combination of things, and the way that Ferrari don't react to when they're winning. They don't react. That's what I mean.
Well, look, come on. You put it into perspective. You've got someone who's a world champion, who's racing in the number 2 seat. Okay, he's anywhere near the amount of points that Vettel's got. Arguably, he's got the same. He's been given the same position. Yes, fair enough. He's had to give away a couple of positions to Vettel, but still, he's nowhere near him. So Vettel's not doing a bad job here, and I don't think anyone else in Vettel's position could do better. I don't, even if you gave it to the great Fernando Alonso, if you gave Alonso the seat, I don't think he would have done better. To be honest with you, I genuinely don't think he would have been able to beat Lewis this year. Yes, he probably wouldn't have span a couple of times, but he might have come second, or he might have got a better qualifying. He might have pipped him to the post. I still think Lewis would have done this year. I don't think, with the way that he is with the team, the way he's got, he's no threat whatsoever into team. He's very, very happy. He's an unstoppable force in Formula One right now, and I don't think anyone on the grid right now could have stopped him.
No, he's got that big monkey lifted off his back. The only thorn in his side since he's been with Mercedes was Rosberg.
Yes.
And he's got rid of that, and he's got a very compliant wingman.
Well, Rosberg just got under his skin. He knew how to manipulate Hamilton.
And he was very fast. I mean,
He was arguably really quick. Such a quick driver.
That's the thing that really people underestimate about Rosberg is Schumacher on his day when he had returned he's still a 7-time world champion. He still had incredible amount of speed, and Rosberg outclassed him massively. Everyone said, "Oh, it's because Schumacher was past his best." And then Lewis Hamilton, arguably one of the quickest drivers in the history of the sport, comes in, and Rosberg beats him on numerous occasions. First season together, Rosberg won the pole award for the most pole positions.
Yeah.
He was an incredible driver, and that's, I think, as you say, Hamilton is just now so happy that he's got that team completely centered around him. Because Rosberg, let's not forget, was the old hat with Mercedes before
With
Hamilton turned
politics
up.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think he has been almost unbeatable, but he's always, the last few years, had that problem with the beginning of the season, and a few more wins put Ferrari's way early on, and even with their mistakes in the last few races, you would still be talking about a 20, 30 point lead at most.
Yeah.
So you look at it both ways, but yeah, I think for next year has to be Ferrari's year. They all have to be on side. Vettel has to not be fazed by Leclerc, even though he may potentially beat him on occasions. Although I'll be honest, I'm not expecting it much in the first year.
I think Vettel will come out absolutely fist fighting next year.
Yeah, I think he has to.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I have no idea where we even got up to in the race. I think just the first corner.
Lap 1.
Lap 1. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on pretty rapidly. I guess the next major point in the race.
That was the conversation we needed to have, though, about Ferrari anyway, so we got over the big
Yeah, and we'd
elephant
love to
in
hear
the
your
room.
thoughts. And I think it is the big talking point of this season as a whole, as it was last year. It's all born out of love of the sport. We just want a good title fight right down to the wire between
And
two different
God,
teams.
Did we not get that race that we all wanted to this weekend? Fair enough, we wanted maybe the drivers
We
to be
still haven't even talked about it, really.
I know! We can skip pretty much most of the other part of the race because it was a bit gay, but all the others was amazing! So after the combination of wheel banging with Daniel Ricciardo, he had to pull over on the side of the road with an electrical fault. I don't know what the final verdict was, but it was a complete shutdown like Bahrain is all I heard from Horner.
Yeah, you saw from the dash, everything just cut out. Not even a stutter, just
Complete
nothing.
turn off, wasn't it?
Yeah,
One of
and
those
there was...
those Renault turn offs, but Max is fine. Don't worry, Max is
Yeah,
fine.
but this was a dangerous one. Do you see the speed at which Red Bull dispatched some of their engineers to the trackside?
Well, they
to
thought
make
there
it
was
safe.
going to be a battery issue.
Yeah, so
Because if there's a total failure of those batteries, they will literally take out the whole car.
yeah, it's not
'Cause
often you
it's
see
cell
a
upon cell upon cell combustion, isn't it? It's like
yeah, and once those start burning, they will not stop for days.
they will burn. Yeah, they will literally burn for days.
So yeah, but they were there at great haste. One man and his laptop.
Muster the Rohirrim.
Just not an angry charge of spectacled engineers with
Flock
laptops.
of Red Bull engineers.
And Daniel Ricciardo going the other way on a good old American motorcycle.
Yes.
He
That
was
squeezed
out
it all
of
back.
there.
That literally threw everything up into the air. Now, was I the only person screaming at Vettel to pit? I was like, Vettel, do it. Vettel, pit. Please, Vettel, pit. Please, pit. Lewis is going to pit. Vettel, if you pit, you're going to be right behind him. I think if Vettel pitted then, he would have been right behind Lewis. That was the only way he was going to get back.
No.
I was like, please, pit. Please, pit.
No, because Hamilton came out of the pits and he was still 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Vettel. If Vettel had pitted, he would have ended up the same distance behind him that he was to begin with.
Got fresh tyres.
Vettel was not in that race without a safety car. There was no way, because he still had to stop. And Mercedes knew stopping Hamilton that early, they had to two-stop. And if Vettel had to two-stop, he wouldn't have been brought any closer to the cars ahead. His race wasn't with Hamilton, unfortunately. I guess you could argue, could he have thrown the dice? But I think Mercedes' strategy was always going to be the wrong one.
Yeah.
I knew pretty much within a couple of laps that it wasn't going to work out for him. Because the only way that strategy worked is if he got straight up to Kimi Räikkönen, straight past, and pulled 5 to 10 seconds before Räikkönen pitted. Because how much earlier he pitted than Räikkönen, when Räikkönen then came back out, he would have started closing that gap back down to Hamilton, and then Hamilton still got to pit again, you end up in the same situation. So I couldn't see any way of it working. But boy was I wrong, because it very nearly did at the end. But that's...
Right?
Yeah, that's the thing that happened. Hamilton did pit early, basically put himself onto a two-stop. He gained about 10 seconds by doing it under the virtual safety car. We had a nice little dummy from Kimi Räikkönen as Hamilton was told very obviously over the radio do the opposite to Kimi. So Kimi just threw a little feint into the pits, and then Hamilton pulled very late in to make that stop. He was then his great wingman jumped massively out of the way, as he always does. I mean, Hamilton didn't even get within a couple of seconds, did he, before he dived out of the way?
Who's that, Bottas?
Yeah. It was almost laughable.
Didn't he?
Well, yeah. I know, but it's just the way he did it. Like, didn't even make any fuss about it in terms of, he needs to be a little bit closer, or once he's within a couple of seconds. I swear, one of the 2 times it happened, he was like 4 or 5 seconds behind him. So Hamilton just needs to catch a bit. Oh no, Bottas has basically come to a stop at the left-hand turn. And through goes Hamilton. Anyway, we know that's probably the better thing for the team. Hamilton then made his way up to Max Verstappen, who he made his way past for the first time, I believe. Was that right? Or did Verstappen pit as well?
I have no idea. I thought Verstappen... I have no idea how that whole worked with Verstappen. They didn't really show much of Verstappen.
I mean, let's quickly go back to Verstappen's start. 6 places on the opening lap.
It's mad, wasn't it?
Flying through. And I do just want to have a brief moment while I remember the start, because this is actually probably only about the 10th minute we've talked about the race after the Ferrari section. Brendan Hartley was superb on the first lap as well. I'd only just seen it today.
Same.
But he just flew through, including an incredible double overtake of what I believe was Stoffel Van Dorn and his teammate down into that left-hander. Got past a pair of them, and he made up a huge amount of places on that one. So it's a much better race for Hartley. I think he's going to get that drive, but I still don't think he's done enough, really, on points. But anyway, so I don't know what happened with Verstappen and Hamilton, how that worked out, but all I know is that Hamilton did end up on the back of Kimi Räikkönen, and this was the critical moment, because Räikkönen needs to hold on long enough to be able to go on to the one-stop strategy, but at the same time he needed to keep that Mercedes behind him, and it was some pretty robust defending from Kimi Räikkönen for a change, that I think won him the race.
Yeah,
because I think you have Hamilton get past early enough. You have to stretch it out to get onto that one stop, but Hamilton's already 5-6 seconds down the road. But holding him off to his pit stop was exactly what he needs to do, and he did it. Hamilton was under no... He knew what he had to do at that point, which would get past him, and a lot of people say Hamilton's thinking about the championship, blah, blah, but we all know Hamilton's not that kind of guy. If he wants to win the championship, he wants to win it in America with a win. Although maybe some later incidents with Max suggested otherwise, but I think at this point he was definitely trying to get past him. Some great defending into those left and right handers, showing how a Ferrari and a Mercedes should battle Sebastian Vettel. And that's what I mean. They were fine through those corners, and Seb and Ricciardo weren't. But anyway. And it meant that Kimi Räikkönen came in off the one stop. He was actually waved. There was a message from Räikkönen, I think, because when he came up behind Vettel, was, what do I do? Like, fully expecting them to go, right now you need to follow Sebastian Vettel. 2 seconds slower than your tyres will go.
It was straight away, wasn't it? He's let you past, he will let you past.
Yeah. I think even Ferrari knew what was... Well, I think they also know how important Räikkönen that victory would be if it came for the team and for Räikkönen. So, yeah, they waved him through. He's already ahead. No, he had to get past Bottas as well, I think, before he pitted. Or did Bottas come in? I'm terrible at remembering shit. But should we just end up with what happened at the end?
Yeah, let's. The middle bit, no one cares.
We had a retirement from Charles Leclerc at one point.
Someone went upstairs for a wee, then we ended up at the end.
Yep, that's the race. So we ended up at the end. Max Verstappen did the one stop. He did the opposite way around. So he did the softs and the super softs. And then Raikkonen ended up leading Verstappen and Hamilton with about a second in between all three of them. And if there's one thing we all wanted from and thought we were going to get at the beginning of this season, is those three teams going head to head. And we've seen it far less after the first few races. And man, it was epic to see. There's nothing like watching an hour and a half of Formula One and to be with 10 laps left to still have three guys going at it completely with just a second between them. And Verstappen was getting close to Raikkonen and Hamilton's close to Verstappen, but the only real flashpoint was between Verstappen and Hamilton as Hamilton tried to make a move after Verstappen ran a little wide. And I guess the talking point most people have said is, did Hamilton give him a bit too much room? Was he a bit too respectful?
No, I just think Lewis knew if he got knocked out, then that gap would close. Ferrari would have a little bit more of an opening.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. He was too, it was his mistake that meant that, or him backing out of it because of the championship, is why he couldn't get past.
I think he did the right thing. I think it was fine. Just let him go. If that was.
Yeah, I guess so. So do you think on a different day, championship not at stake, Hamilton would have won that race?
I think he
that's the bigger question, isn't it?
I think he would have pushed Max a little harder. But I think in that position that he was in right there, he got onto the marbles. So I think even if the championship wasn't on the cards, he wouldn't have even tried. I don't think.
And in the grander schemes, do you think he would have been able to get past those two on a different day?
No.
I think
definitely not the Ferrari. He might have been able to get around Max, but on that corner, even if the championship wasn't on, the way he was on the track, how dirty it was offline, maybe at the beginning or the middle of the race, but at the end when it was so marbly, I don't think he had much chance getting around him there.
No, I think we would have seen him have a lot more attempts than that, a lot earlier than that, if he had been if it hadn't been the championship at stake. Whether he would have ultimately got past Raikkonen, I would agree. I don't think he did, and I think that removes any shadow of doubt that Kimi Raikkonen won his first race in 113 races, becoming the oldest winner since Nigel Mansell in 1994. Came home to win on merit, and that's what makes me more happy about this than anything. He went out and won that race.
Did.
And man, it was a little bit emotional, that.
It was pretty good, wasn't it, seeing him win at the end? He went crazy in the cockpit as well. Did you see him?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, some Finnish emotion.
He is a human.
He is a human like us.
Although I think the interview with Martin Brundle was so cringeworthy, though.
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. It was straight after on Channel 4. It wasn't.
Was it bad?
Yeah, he was just trying to prod the bear for emotion, really. Kimi was smiling a bit more than normal. He wasn't going crazy, and Martin was like, "Come on, you must have more in you." Like, just trying to beg him to do something. It's like, you do realise that this is Kimi Raikkonen.
He did crack a couple of smiles when he was doing the little post-race
yeah, of course. But Brundle was going on like he was going to suddenly start dancing. It's like, you do realise he's not going to do that.
Not a Brundle anyway.
No. I enjoy him in the whole Sky coverage, really, but that was a bit cringy. So there we had it. Max Verstappen finished in second, Vettel third, Hamilton third, and then we did have another little battle towards the end of Vettel getting past Bottas. I know Vettel is sick of recovery drives and we're sick of his mistakes, but it was compared to Japan, which was an average recovery drive, to be fair, because he ended up so far away from everybody else. This was a stunning one.
It was. People forget, these things with Vettel. Like, this is the guy, who won his championship from pretty much the back after the first lap in Brazil, whatever year it was, 2014, 2013? 2012. One of those.
2012 is the one he won from when he span in
We got hit
Brazil.
by Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 and 12 were the difficult ones. 11 and 13 were easy street. But yeah, it was something else. And to actually get back ahead of a Mercedes on raw pace is a big FU in the face of Valtteri Bottas. And and explains why he's a wingman. It's disappointing, really. I want to see someone else in that Mercedes car.
Well, it'll be Ocon next year. Not next year, but the year after, you know what I mean?
Or Russell.
Nah, be Ocon.
Depends. If Russell comes in and if Williams have a slightly better car next year, if Russell comes in and smashes it, like Leclerc did, and Russell's arguably a better driver from what we've seen than, well, definitely than Norris, but potentially even more than Leclerc, then, and Leclerc smashes it at Ferrari, then I could see Mercedes putting Russell in. I really could. But yeah, but there's a reason Bottas is on a 1-year rolling contract, and there's a reason I think he got that drive. It's because he's Toto's driver. He was flattered by a Williams car. As I've always said about those kind of drivers, he's great, but not.
He's good, but not great.
Superstar.
Yeah.
Well, no, because in the superlatives of good, great, and world class, I would put him as great. I do think he's a cut above some of these midfield chumps that we get put in. But he's just not a true superstar like everybody else in those top teams. So yeah, it was. It meant that, I mean, as it was 3rd and 5th, Hamilton wasn't going to win the championship, but it now gives a tiny sliver upon what was, frankly, a particle of dust of hope for Vettel to win the championship.
Well, he just won't. If Lewis, isn't it something like if Vettel wins, Lewis has got to come 8th or lower or something?
So, I mean, we now have 70 points exactly between them, 75 to play. So, if Hamilton scores, at the very minimum, presuming countbacks went Vettel's way, if Hamilton finished 9th, and 10th, and Vettel won it, that's the maximum Hamilton can get, and Vettel's still winning. Basically, Hamilton needs to finish. He needs 6 points, effectively. I mean, I think he'll have it on countback anyway, but I would say 6 points, so it's got to be 7th, isn't it? 7th or better, and he wins no matter what Vettel does. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be wrapped up bar 3 catastrophic failures in the next 3 races, which could happen. Come on, we've got to keep it alive. No, we don't. It's over. It's over. And yeah, it was. Now that we've gone over it, it doesn't seem like that much happened, but I still think it was it was a great race. There's plenty of action in the midfield, and a great fight at the front of the field. So long may it continue. Right, let's go through the rest of the riders and runners. Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz probably secure 4th place in the constructors for Renault. That now means that there is 24 points between the Haas and Renault. I don't think that can be overturned in the next 3 races. So a cracking weekend for them, and another great race for Hülkenberg. He really is. I can't wait to see him against Ricciardo next year. I think that's going to be very interesting to see. Although I can also see Ricciardo getting completely demotivated by about Spain. So, but we'll see. Sergio Perez finishes in 8th, and then, not as previously advertised, we have Brendan Hartley and Marcus Ericsson in the points. Because there was 2 disqualifications of Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen was for using 0.1 more kilograms of fuel. And I think Ocon was also
It was a
fuel flow.
fuel flow meter thingy that was Dodge.
Yeah. So we had these. When did the rule come in? Was it last year or was it the year before?
Definitely wasn't last year. It was the first season.
No,
of
it's
Dan
2014.
14 when he
Got disqualified in Australia.
was it third place?
Yeah. Third or second, one of the two.
Third. Pretty sure it's third.
I'm pretty sure we've had this argument before, and I've no idea.
Okay.
I remember you looking this up before, because amazingly this has come up before in this podcast short history of all the things. So yeah, it meant that Brendan Hartley, which wasn't going to get any points, was actually rewarded for what was a very good race to finish P9. Marcus Ericsson gets P10, and Stoffel Van Dorn retains his 8 points. Meme.
8.
8. I thought he was going to move off 8 sometime towards the end, and then he made a very late stop. So yeah, he remains on 8 points. Pierre Gasly P12, which shows how good a race Brendan Hartley actually did. Definitely drove a lot better than Gasly this time out. Well, Gasly's not really been the same since he got the Red Bull drive, has he? Let's be fair. Sorokin 13th, Stroll 14th. They're Williams. That's where they're going to finish. Last of the runners pretty much every time. Charles Leclerc obviously retired. Ricciardo, as we know, retired. Grosjean and Alonso retired from their early accidents. And those disqualifications from Ocon and Magnussen. So, do we actually get any change in anything else in the drivers? Kimi Räikkönen retains third place. I was thinking about looking at the maths earlier, and I've now looked at it. I was wondering if Kimi Räikkönen could beat Sebastian Vettel. I mean, there's... What have we got? We've got 54 points between them, so it's pretty unlikely at this point.
It's pretty... The stats are pretty good, though, for Kimi. Look, 1 race win, 221 points. Like, the boy did good.
He's had a great year. And to be fair, he's only 4 points ahead of Bottas, which surprises me. But it's this second half of the season he's picked up, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's had a great season. Bottas arguably has had an awful season.
Well, to not win a race in a Mercedes this year is when Red Bull have won 3. That is the statistic that stands out to me and will continue to, even if he wins a pity race at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys, apart from Bottas, have won races on merit. And Bottas has not, which really shows the whole picture. He's not a winner.
The only other people who stand out for me on that thingy are Nico Hülkenberg and Fernando Alonso. Everyone else is meh.
Hülkenberg, yep, has done a great job. Alonso, that is staggering that he's still in the top 10, considering I think he's scored maybe 3 or 4 points since like mid-season. He did so well early on, didn't he? Mm-hmm. But yeah, the fact that he's almost... I don't think he will quite hold on to top 10 because I can see Ocon and maybe Sainz getting past him. But yeah, that's pretty good. The other big one is Hartley versus Gasly. 28-4. And Leclerc 21-7 of Ericsson. So there we go. That is your US Grand Prix, everybody. Do we have a crash of the week? Or are we retiring that segment?
You know. Crash of the week, you bastards! Of course, we can never retire Crash of the Week. I love it that you filled in for my little meme at the beginning, even though we probably did rob it. But I loved it that you did that last week for me. I'm
That's
grateful.
all right. I'm a big fan of the podcast that it's a homage to.
Yes.
So I have
those
to.
who know.
Yeah.
Crash of the week then. Crash of the week. Tuffy. Because there was a few little taps. There's a few taps.
A few little taps,
spins.
but nothing dramatic.
Not a lot of dramatic, but there's a couple of taps. For ultimate effect, I think Crash of the Week goes to the Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, tap into turn probably 7 million. I can't remember how many there are in there.
Yeah, that was
At the very beginning.
it was typical Alonso because he got back to the pits and I hadn't seen the actual incident at that point, and I thought, oh, he's fine. But little do we know when we go on the onboard of Stroll, he's got a whole side pod missing with fluids going out. Alonso's just like, get me out again, I'm fine.
He brought the car back. I didn't even know that he did that.
Yeah, he pitted and then went back out again and retired the next lap.
Did he?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought he retired and got out. I had no idea he carried on.
Drove it all the way back with fluid spewing out of it.
I saw the damage, but I had no idea. Oh my goodness.
I thought he was absolutely fine. He got back,
fine,
put the tyres on, off he goes. Okay, just maybe damaged a front wing or something. He's like the knight out of Monty Python. It is but a scratch. It's on his way. No, Fernando, it's actually getting pretty dangerous now. He should probably come in. Okay, let's do a little bit of news. I don't really think I want to do too much else this week. I think we've both had long days and it's been quite a long podcast. I think we've got through most of what we want to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
So, let's start with Raikkonen talking a little bit about his reasons for moving to Sauber after his win.
I haven't heard of these. Explain.
Well, they're Kimi reasons. They're not really reasons.
Oh, okay.
But his direct quote, and there's actually a full paragraph here, so he must have been very excited after his win. I think people don't understand I'm actually very happy where I'm going. I had my time with Ferrari, I won the championship with them, I won many races with them. For me as a driver, I want different challenges. I want different things, and I'm actually very happy to go there. Sounds self-explanatory, right? Normally, for most drivers, that would be it. But this is Kimi Raikkonen. So there was two more sentences, which I think explain the real reason why he's moved to Sauber. It's roughly 40 minutes from my home. My family will be happy. I'm happy to be with my family. What Kimi's essentially done is gone, what's that? What's that F1 team down the road? Sauber. Yeah, I'll go there. He lives in Switzerland, 40 minutes from the factory. I think that's the real reason.
Okay, I did not know that. So
Yeah.
that's why.
Probably.
And they probably got quite a nice paycheck and probably a good retirement package all going in there.
Yeah. And they can lend him some cars if he needs one from his house.
He's probably got a good Ferrari engine in the back as well, so who knows, it's quite good.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of fun for him, I would imagine. I'd like to see if he does a similar thing to Felipe Massa when he did at Williams, and just go have a bit of fun for a couple of years, make a few surprises, get his elbows out again.
Yeah,
he gets that love of racing.
I can't wait for the quotes for the mid-season, midfield Kimi. I can't wait for them.
It's gonna.
What are they doing? Yeah, his crazy outbursts. These people can't race.
They want the blue flags. They have to get past me.
Yes. I can't wait for those. Oh, fair enough. I didn't know that. That's good news.
It's gonna be fun.
Good news.
He also, in the same press conference, this was the winners' press conference. Hamilton was speaking, and I think Kimi's given me a lot of confidence that I can keep getting better. Before admitting he wasn't sure if Raikkonen was 38 or 39. 39, Raikkonen interjected. Next year 40, so I'll invite you to the party. Hamilton, I hope I get an invite for the 40th. Raikkonen, we can call.
What did he say?
We can call.
We can call.
Not even proper English there. Just, we can call.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. So, yeah,
I bet that happens as well.
Probably.
I bet that happens.
Probably Lewis ringing him up and Kimi going, yes.
Yes, you invite in post. You have to sing. Okay.
We can post. So yeah, I thought that was a little bit of fun out of that. Right, what else have we got about the place? Ricciardo punched the wall after his race. Horner said he's just taken his frustration out in the room by putting his fist through a wall. You can totally relate to that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he was obviously frustrated. He's got a feeling he's going to have to get used to that pretty quickly for next year.
Yes.
Ricciardo won't be allowed to test in Abu Dhabi for the Renault team.
Surprise.
Yeah, it's pretty
for the Renault
self-explanatory.
team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously,
just
they
politics.
want to get him. Yeah, and he's contracted,
Yeah.
I guess. But they've got the same engine, unless
That's rubbish news. Not even news.
I'm just. There was a video of Kimi Räikkönen on Ferrari's Twitter where he held up one of those, those little mics that you pin onto your t-shirt
Yes.
or whatever. He was just holding that up in front of him like it was a normal mic. So
Oh my god, I've got to find this. What's this
weird. It was on their Twitter. Let me.
Well, Ferrari.
Yeah, let me send it over to you. It's a pretty normal interview, but it's just if you scroll down, it's about 7th or 8th down. I don't think this will be copyrighted, so we can have
Obviously, great end of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And we're still in both championships, hunts, and for me,
Tiny
it was
little
a while
microphone.
before I won, and couldn't ask more. So, what can I say? I'm happy about it. I think a lot of people are happy about it. And,
First comment.
thanks
Big
to
man.
USA.
Small mic.
It was a great weekend. So let's
Brilliant.
try to do another great weekend
hilarious.
next time around in Mexico. And
I love
then,
seeing some of the
finish
videos
season
of,
strong. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for the
Kimi.
team. Thanks for Ferrari.
Was walking through the paddock, and he was pushing past all of these people. People were trying to shove hats in his face, like for signing. He's just pushing past all these people. This little boy comes up to him with a hat. He stops, signs the little boy's hat, and carries on. He's like, "No, I won't sign your hat. No, sign. Oh, look, cute little boy. You not sign your hat."
Child, I have child.
I have one of
he
these.
also very small, very small.
I do this too, so you can have it.
I don't know why he not bigger. He should be helping out. Yeah, he has a soft kids after that crying kid.
Do you think that was him that got him in?
What?
Okay, moving on. Any more news? Okay.
Yeah, we got a little bit more. Kevin Magnussen is this Formula One or fuel saving or Formula Fuel saving? Funny one, Kev.
Formula fuel saving.
Yeah, that should be the new name of the podcast.
Formula fuel saving podcast.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit back to the Ocon guarantee.
What's the Ocon guarantee? That sounds cool. I want one of those. Does this come with the Ocon guarantee?
It's the 1 year guarantee and optional third.
Oh.
A potential 3rd year guarantee, but 2nd year's invalid always. It's just Toto Wolff said we are prepared for Plan B with Esteban. One thing I can guarantee you is that he's going to be in a good car in 2020 because there are many teams out there who have interest in Esteban. So potentially.
He's a big part of Mercedes' future, that man, so I will be surprised if he doesn't have a drive.
Again, I think he's got to be in Formula 1 somewhere. I just don't know if he can get it. It depends on George Russell. A lot does on that top job. Because they'll keep Bottas next year and they'll make a decision between him and Russell for next year. I would be my guess. Unless something strange comes up. Or something strange happens, like Hamilton decides he's had enough. I don't think that's going to happen next year. Right, what else have we got? Dan Tickton drove a McLaren. Guess that's not really we're getting. Oh, there's a bit of controversy with the Mercedes wheel rims. So they've been putting holes in the wheel rims. Which Ferrari have complained is a movable aerodynamic device, which was banned by Red Bull for Red Bull in 2012. I think Mercedes actually changed the design of their wheel rims before the race because they knew that Ferrari were going to protest it mid-race, which is the way you do it. But they've basically got lots of little holes outside of the rim, which are presumably drawing air in from the outside of the car the same way those blown wheel nuts work and feeding it through. How much difference this really makes, I don't know. It's a wheel. Moving on. Came out and that excluded. Roman Grosjean now 2 points away from a ban after his latest penalty.
I heard about this.
So that'll be interesting to see if...
And he personally went and apologised about the incident as well.
Well, that's great. I
To
mean, you
hide the fact. Almost like, please don't ban me, I said sorry.
Yeah, there's literally any crime in the world you can apologise for after it doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did. I wasn't comparing it to like murder or something, but you know. In other Formula One news, or sort of vaguely Formula One news, Mick Schumacher wrapped up the Formula 3 Championship in Suzuka. He's had an incredible end to the season, and Hamilton is predicting that there will be 100% be a Schumacher back in Formula One, partly because of the name, but secondly because he's doing a great job. But yeah, very happy for him. Apparently, McLaren have agreed a deal with Coca-Cola. Said starting at the US Grand Prix, but I didn't see that.
It was there. It's very
Okay.
small. Just a Toro Rosso have agreed one with KFC.
Oh yeah, did see that. It's all your favourite things in the Toro Rosso at the moment, isn't it? Honda engine, KFC
Yep.
sponsorship,
Yep.
a New Zealander.
Yeah. Is that my favourite thing? Why not?
You like the accent? Or well, no, it's Australian.
Right.
You like, isn't it?
Yeah, why not?
Sorry, all Australian people, but they're basically the same accent. Oh, okay. Have we got much else? I think Lance Stroll is apparently going to run in Abu Dhabi for Force India. Yeah, I think we knew that was probably going to happen.
Did you?
Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, go on.
Completely off context, and a lot of people who watch our podcast. Did you see the race director for what happened in the Baku Grand Prix?
No. Oh, you mean in our league race?
In our league race.
Yeah, I mean we're about 600 miles off topic now, but okay.
Well,
Yes.
It was
What
pretty
happened?
damning.
What happened
Pretty damning.
was exactly what I said would. They're not going to ban you for a race, but yeah, you got the most severe penalty, which is a drive through and starting from the back and a drive through. The way you got to look at that, I guess, is that you can get rid of the softest tyre at the beginning.
Yeah.
There is two other people that have got the same penalty. And, one safety car and you're back in it. But I do think the safety car is not a thing in Formula One
It's
anymore,
got a
according
thing
to that
right now.
game. I've not had a single safety car in both career, any single-player races, or the league so far. So, yeah, I mean, watching back some of the incidents, I don't think it was too harsh. But I'm glad you're not banned for your favourite race. Plenty of chance still to get something out of it.
Fingers crossed.
Right, let's have a quick look at the Fantasy League. I believe you've started to put together some designs
Some designs. Oh, for the shirt.
for
Yeah, I
the
put
winner's
a couple,
T-shirt. Yeah,
couple of designs I put together, but whether they thingy.
I like the back of it.
Yes.
Which
Dennis.
this conversation means nothing to anybody. But the back, well, you've just given away a bit of it. I like the back of it. I need to design that can from the cream of the can a bit better. But yeah, that design will be finalised, and whoever does win the Fantasy League will be getting that lovely shirt as long as I can get their full name and address to send it to. Don't worry, country is not an objection. I will go all out to get that sent out to you. Should you want it? I mean, you can refuse if you want. But why would you want to refuse such great merchandise that's free? Right, there's been a little shift in the order. Pau Roberto is still P1, but Foxworth has moved up to P2, overtaking Mirik. Papaya Orange down to 4th. You're now 5th, which I think is up 1 place, maybe. Dava Racing in 6th. Yazburg in 7th. Armchair Pilot Racing 8th. The Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula 1 team in ninth. Farhan is 10th. TKM is 11th, joint 11th with Sawyer F. And I am now P13 with Team Dream Cream. Not great for myself. What did I get? Oh, only 74 points from America. Fox managed to help himself to 132. Roberto 111. So that suggests why Fox has had that big shift. Merrick 122. Papaya Orange Connor got just 76. Very similar team to me then. And you yourself got just 86 points from the USA.
I don't know how, because I've got Kimi Räikkönen in my team. It's probably because of Red Bull, but
Räikkönen got yourself 57 points. Red Bull 40. Hamilton 35. But then you were minus 16 for Leclerc, minus 12 for Alonso, and minus 18 for Magnussen. Your turbo driver was Leclerc. But yeah, you're still in with a shot of top 3.
maybe.
And there's still a chance that Fox and Mirik might be able to catch Roberto, but he does seem to be a little bit too far away to catch. But unlike the real Formula 1 Championship, it's not over yet. This might go to the final race. Is it double points? Can we set like quadruple points for the final race? I don't think that's a setting on this. No. Okay.
Can we just remember how gay that was?
What, double points?
Double points in the last race.
I quite like it.
Did you? I thought it was hideous. How unfair is that? It's not even fair in the slightest. If that changed the outcome of the championship, I would have been so pissed off. Can you imagine having a faultless season, but fair enough, your nearest rival's 48 points behind you, and you have a mechanical error, and he gets you just because of double points at the end. It's just awful. Ugh. Yeah.
But is that any worse than being 24 points ahead, having a mechanical failure, and being beaten at the final race of the season? It's the same kind of luck involved. But I guess a 48 point or something lead is harder to obtain. I was kind of on board with the idea, but I'm with you. I don't think there's any room for it in real competitive sport. Imagine if they did that in football, there would be absolute outroar, I'm sure. So, yeah. We're kind of glad. We don't need gimmicks in Formula 1. I think everything's going in the right direction. Albeit very, very slowly. I think we have actually had a couple of new people join the league in recent weeks. As well. So welcome to the league, and I'm glad you're still competing.
Welcome.
Farhan Motorsport and RV Sebeth F1 team on 105 and 438 points respectively. Congratulations to you for team spirit and for joining up to the league. Right.
Results, predictions.
Predictions, and then we are out of here. Grazie, Kimi. Flag number 6 in... Oh, Ferrari put a flag up every time they win at Maranello. That's interesting. Yeah. So they got 6 flags up, and then the Italian flag in the beginning, in the middle. Ferrari have not won 6 Grand Prix in a season since 2008. That is a staggering statistic, if you think about it. 10 years since they last won 6 in a season. Wow. Right, predictions for Mexico.
That's a tough one.
It is, because... isn't it?
I'm going to go with, straight away, Vettel, Max, Hamilton. Hamilton wraps up the season.
The championship.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton for victory. I'm going to go Sebastian P2, and I'm going to go Bottas P3. That's my predictions, and I'm sticking to them.
Good.
Yeah, I think Hamilton will just knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
I think Vettel will be better, but I just still don't. I think he'll have the pace, potentially. Although, well, Mercedes have been pretty poor at Mexico in recent years, but hey. That's my predictions. Was it Max last year that had that won it, wasn't it? Mexico. And it got completely overshadowed, really. because Hamilton won and then pulled up
I
right
can't remember.
next to the podium. I think it was. Okay. A very small bit of random news before we finish. If we want to do a little bit of off topic for a minute or two. New Top Gear presenters.
Oh.
What's your feeling on the addition of Freddie Flintoff, the cricketer, and Paddy McGuinness, the TV presenter, going alongside Chris Harris?
It's just bad, isn't it? Why did they get rid of whatchamacallit?
Matt LeBlanc.
No, not
Rory
him. I know why
Reid.
he's gone. Yeah. Why did they get rid of Rory, the only relevant person on there?
Really, I like Chris. I think he's good.
I like Rory. I like Chris Harris, but he's a bit over the top sometimes.
Let's be
but I
honest.
really
You just
like
you just
Rory.
have a hard on for Rory since he did that Japan, that Japanese street racing film.
Like, well, I went to see Top
being
Gear being
filmed.
filmed, and it's
did.
going to be aired soon,
The
probably in the
season
next
on
couple
next
of
year.
months.
Yeah,
It's on at the end of this year, I think.
it's 2019. It begins.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least anyway, the last season with Rory in. So I was at the filming on one of their episodes. And you'd be able to find me if you're eagle-eyed. And looking at the relationship between all three of them, Matt and Chris like got on like a house on fire, but Rory was almost shunned most of the time. Like they didn't even speak to Rory really. So I just think it was I don't know, it's a bit weird how they treated Rory. Like Rory is a bit of like an afterthought. Because
Yeah.
I even said to like Steph and stuff afterwards, I was like, that's my girlfriend, people who don't know. I was like, how did you notice that no one really talked to Rory? Like no one really wanted anything to do with Rory. It was a bit weird.
Yeah, I think he was kind of pushed in from the backup show, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's the wrong age bracket as well to get on with them. But do you know what? I like Freddie Flintoff. I was a big cricket fan, and I really enjoy him on League of Their Own. He's had he had a massive accident where he rolled a rally car on that, so I'm excited about that prospect. They're both big petrol heads. Paddy McGuinness is quite funny. He's quite funny with some of the stuff he's done with Peter Kay and stuff. I think it could be quite fun. I think there'll be more of that natural banter with those two on board than the scripted or forced stuff that it seemed with LeBlanc. So I'm always hopeful for it. I completely agree with the Top Gear guys when they said you get 2 motoring shows rather than 1 now, and it can be something completely different. It can be a different kind of fun to the Grand Tour. So I'm quite happy with those two.
Let's see how it goes. I think it'll be funny with Paddy McGuinness. I think that'll be fucking hilarious. And Freddie's quite funny as well, so let's see how it goes.
Freddie just has no filter and no barrier. Like, they were doing a little thing for League of Their Own where they did a challenge where they drove a rally car. He flipped it. He full on flipped a rally car over a jump and then put it into a tree. That's yeah. I'm quite excited to see what it'll be on a big budget car show. But yeah, hey, that was just something to end it up because we didn't do some of the things we normally do, and this is about probably the right length. What did you think of you watched the Fox podcast last week, didn't you?
Yes, I thought it was really good.
Good.
I think we should get him on more often.
Yeah, I want to see if we can get him for Mexico, and see
Why not?
how a freeway dynamic works.
Whoa.
He did instantly increase. I don't know if it was the removal of you or the addition of Fox, but it immediately increased it to like one of the longest podcasts ever. Because we got quite technical and in depth with it, whereas we breeze over stuff from time to time, don't we, when it's us two. But I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys continue to enjoy the podcast. If you have, don't forget that like button. You can subscribe to the channel as well if you want to see some other content. At the moment, your best bet is the ORL F1 2018 Season 10, which will return for 2 more races this week on Thursday and Saturday, which at least one of them, I presume, maybe 2, we will see rage alongside me. Correct?
Well, we're going to see me alongside me? What?
You can be doing both league races?
League races? Yeah, of course I will.
Doing Saturday? Okay. As long as
yeah,
he
no,
as long as he doesn't
I'm-
fuck up Spain and get a race ban.
fuck you. I'm doing every single league race now to the end, even Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I crash into someone in Spain, which I get a race ban.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
Try,
Because
try and get some good practice in.
Do you want to do you want me to read out the thing that I've got my penalty? Do you want to hear this?
Yeah, go on.
So lap 12:13, inconvenient action by swerving on the straight. So that was my first
I
strike.
genuinely thought you were warming your tyres with that.
Literally, I said to one of the race organisers that didn't have any correlation to what happened with the actual collision or anything like that. And the actual when the moves were being done, it was only one move that I did. But anyway, that got taken into account apparently, and I get it shouldn't be done, but hey, I've seen drivers do that anyway. But it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'll look over it. And then there was direct collision with a front runner caused by late braking, causing damage to another car. Unsafe movement after the crash, causing damage to several cars. Grid penalty. And
I think that was more the main thing.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get it. It was. I think the main reason what happens because I pulled out, and the only reason why I pulled out on Cal, and I saw it's an excuse, but my Twitch alerts and my chat box covers my map, so I didn't see him coming.
Oh yeah, now we got
So,
the racing driver excuses.
I'm gonna move them over to the other side of the screen for the next race. For
Okay.
you guys, so I don't. Because I know that you can't move once you've been hit. You should stay still, but I didn't. I physically didn't see him coming, and obviously then
you
he
physically
hit me.
didn't see them.
I didn't see him coming, but then he hit me into the wall, and that's when lots of people piled into the side of me because they couldn't miss me because I was being hit into the wall. So yeah, if causing another accident in the next 3 races will result in a race ban. So I'm going to get a race ban. It's just going to happen at one point, and I don't know when.
No, you must be better.
There will be. If I cause one incident, there will be an incident in the next 3 races. Where are we? Spain.
Monaco.
Where are we after that? Monaco, exactly. So what's the race after Monaco?
Canada? Yeah.
So I'm going to have a race ban in Monaco or Canada. One or the other. It's going to happen.
Maybe you want to take it for Monaco. Miss out on that.
Look, this is just a recovery drive. And I'm going to go out and say, I think I can still get points next race. This Thursday.
Yeah, man, I think you should always be aiming for points. I just think you need a bit more practice.
My favourite track. And I've been lapping quite fast there already in practice. I've already been practicing.
You've been doing some practice. Lovely.
Yep.
Lovely. Okay, cool. Yeah. If you want to join us then, we will have the Spanish round of the RL F1 2018 League and the Monaco round on a Super Saturday. That should be fun. So yeah, you can join us next for then, and then of course we will have a podcast next week with, hopefully, if I remember to ask him and he's available, Fox joining us for a 3-man podcast on what is, I will presume, to be the podcast that celebrates Hamilton's championship as he wraps it up in Mexico, because I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Let's have a Mexican threesome.
Oh, and on that note, let's get out of here promptly and not leaving my back to you.
Is that soap on the floor?
No.
No.
No, it's snails.
Banter.
It's snakes. Snakes in your eyes. For lies. Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I think the darkness is your ally.
Darkness!